Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM.
Eagle kami, di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpa at tama. Buhay atenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero sugo, todo sa kayod, tulong at tulong. Lipad na Blue Eagle, galing giting at tigil. Blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Katipunan.
Cut! Good take! Want to hear our take on all your favorite filmy things? Tune in to Clapback, the radio show for film critics, production news, pop culture, and social commentary. Serving as a place for our voice in our cinematic universe. Hosted by the Loyola Film Circle, Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Only here on Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM. Action!
Hello everyone, good afternoon. I'm Max, and when it comes to films, I serve the facts. So please take the time to sit back and relax.
Hey guys, I'm Austin. Some people say I'm chill, just here to keep it real and serve you your daily movie fill. Man, it's been a few days in break. What you been up
Yeah,
to?
it's been about a week, and break was going well until enlistment, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. So everyone watching, I just hope yours went way better than mine. But first, can I just say, finally, your mic worked without anything.
I know, this is like the first time in like how many consecutive shows. I really am waiting for that new mic, so just waiting for that to just come in the mail.
Wow, okay. So anyway, what's up? What have you been watching?
Ooh, actually, I've been watching a lot. I mean, because we have break now, so we don't have as much akad, so been able to watch a lot. Dark Materials season 2 just came out, and I love Dark Materials, especially because I loved Golden Compass as a child. So like, if you guys haven't seen that yet, it's a show, but it's kind of on HBO Max, so you're gonna have to stream it other ways. It stars the girl who played the daughter of Logan, and also Lin-Manuel Miranda's there. He plays the cowboy. So it's a pretty good show if you guys haven't checked it out yet.
Does he sing?
Sadly, he doesn't. Not like his Hamilton counterpart, no. How about you? What have you been up to?
So, I've been watching stuff on Netflix mostly, actually. Just yesterday, I saw this movie called My Two Mommies, starring Paula Ballesteros from Die Beautiful, Solen Husaf, and Maricel Soriano. So it was actually relatively light. Like, it's one of those movies that you can just put on and know that you're not going to be overly emotional and stuff. Plus, it shows like a lot of places people usually frequent, like Tagaytay. So it was kind of like, oh, nice to see, especially now that we're still on lockdown. And one thing that really stood out to me was that the storyline was really hard to predict. Like, watching it from start to finish, it ends in a way that you really don't see coming and that you really don't expect. So, it had a good twist. It began and
Actually, yeah,
ended
I
really
remember
different.
seeing that also because like I think it was in the top 10 for Netflix. So I also gave it a watch. It was actually pretty like light. And actually there was, although I had some problems with the movie, not gonna lie, because I kind of felt like what's this? I kind of felt like he kind of made a big deal about the gay thing, like him being a gay father, even though like there was nothing in the story that really showed that like being a gay dad would be like a bad thing. Like he was letting him watch all the telenovelas and stuff. So I kind of like, for me, aside from that, I thought it was pretty good. And like there was a part there where I felt like it would have been really serious and dramatic in any other movie, but then in this movie they didn't make it as serious as it was, or like it was kind of serious but not so sad, which was like the climax of the movie. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I kind of see what you mean because there was that one part in the middle which I just won't talk about in detail because it's a spoiler. But
Yeah.
there's one part where you think like, oh, okay, this is going to turn like a full 180, and that's why I say there were a lot of things that weren't expected. But then the resolution kind of brought it. It didn't bring it back to the beginning completely, but it definitely closed the story. So I think it's still something worth watching. And you're right, it tackles a lot of things that I'm surprised people actually tackled in 2018 because this movie was from 2018.
That's
But
true.
it's a good movie to watch now in 2021. Like, it seems better fitting for society now. And yes, as I said, it'll tackle a lot of things that people need to have conversations about.
But yeah, there's actually a lot of pretty good Filipino films that came out in 2018 that they're releasing in Netflix. Like one of them, Only Life, was pretty interesting. It's a comedy romance starring Vong Navarro and Joey Marquez and Winwin Marquez. Actually, if you guys didn't know, Joey Marquez was in On the Job, which is like one of my favorite
Oh,
Filipino movies. Yeah, and his daughter's playing the love interest in the movie. Because how the movie is like Vong Navarro's character gets dumped by Winwin Marquez's character, and then he goes to this mystical bar, and then after that he drinks something by that the bartender gives him, and then the bartender kind of sends him on this journey where he time travels through different periods in Philippine history, and like his girlfriend's there also, so he's just trying to hook up with her in each time, and like it's actually pretty like fun. Like it's a very light time travel, like a hot tub time machine type thing. So I found it to be really a really fun movie.
that's interesting actually, the use of time travel for a movie like this. Because honestly, when you said the title and you called it Only Life, I was thinking, okay, what if they're in a video game? Because like when I hear Only Life, it's like, when you have unlimited lives on like Candy Crush or something.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the vibe I got. So I was like, oh, is he gonna talk about a movie where they're in a video game but
I was
time
thinking
travel?
something
That's
like that,
interesting.
or something like Groundhog Day. If you've seen
Oh,
that,
okay,
that's
Groundhog
the one where
Day.
he's like living the same life again and again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of had like what's this that image when I first saw the film.
Okay.
When I first
So
saw
we
the
have
trailer.
We have some comments actually. So, hi Enzo, my carpool mate saying Max shocked face. So, hi Enzo, shocked face. And to my AVP, Anne. Wow, that was an interesting convo. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
So, if you guys have been watching things on the Netflix top 10 or even out of the Netflix top 10, please let us know so we can see if we watched it as well.
Yeah. So what other top 10 things have you been watching?
Okay, so one of the newest releases of Netflix actually is this show called Fate, the Winx Saga. So
Oh, yeah.
it's based off of the Winx Club, but I think inspired by the Winx Club is a more appropriate way to term it because it was very, very, very different from its source material. So for context, the Winx Club is a cartoon started by an Italian filmmaker, and it's about fairies. So it's very light, very happy. If you look at the cartoon, it's very like colorful and bright. And coincidentally, like their fashion in that cartoon is actually very in right now, like crop tops, glitter, high heels. So when I heard that they were making a Winx Netflix adaptation, I thought that it would kind of be like that because I was like, okay, a lot of what happened in the Winx is like very 2020 fashion trends, but they actually went the complete like opposite direction. So they went the Riverdale route. So it's very, very dark. And as many would like to call it Riverdale-ified.
Yeah, I feel like what's this
Yeah.
Netflix been doing that with a lot of those classic child favorites, like with
Exactly.
Sabrina and what's this Riverdale with Archie. Yeah.
Exactly. And it is by the same showrunners. So, honestly, for me, the story, like, it's a 6 episode season. So, that's really short, like, for anything. And the episodes weren't that long. So, I feel like they could have made it, like, 1 to 2 episodes longer just to flesh out the story a bit more. Because, in all honesty, there was a twist to the story which made it a little more interesting halfway through. Like, you kind of accept, like, okay, this isn't the Winx I know, but this has potential to go somewhere. But then because it's 6 episodes, it just ended. And you could tell that everything felt a bit crammed as opposed to 6 episodes was enough. So I think it could have been a bit longer, but it did set up a season 2 really well. So would I watch the season 2? Yes, but would I recommend this? I guess yes, also just really don't expect it to be like the cartoons, because I know that a lot of people grew up like reading the comics, watching the cartoons. I really like playing the game, but one thing that that me and a lot of people on Twitter actually couldn't ignore was this show had a lot of whitewashing. So there's this Latina character named Flora based on J-Lo actually, who didn't make an appearance. Instead, they had a character very similar to her named Tara, who is played by a white girl. And also, they whitewashed in such a way that there was an Asian character, a character who was supposed to be Chinese, but instead they got a girl who's Eastern European and just made her eye makeup really heavy. So it's a reminder to movie makers also that it is possible to cast people who are Asian to play Asian characters. So that's actually something that's been going around on Twitter, on Reddit. People are saying like, why didn't the casting directors just put in a little more effort to cast
Finding someone
people,
Asian.
yes, people of the right race to play these characters? Because what made Winx so well beloved when we were younger was that everyone of every background was represented by these really fun and happy fairies. So why couldn't they do the same? Like, the twists could have been perfectly acceptable had the representation been there.
Wait, so despite the whitewash though, you'd say it's like the story wise, the show's pretty good.
I think, like, okay, I wouldn't say it was really, really good because there were things I feel like should have been fleshed out more so that people would understand the story a little bit more. But I think that they plan to answer those questions or fill out these plot holes in a second season. So we'll really just have to see.
But yeah, I kind of noticed that, like, there's really a trend, like, a lot of these shows are coming out, and like, what's this, like, Riverdale, Sabrina, and then also Winx. Like, they said there's going to be a spin-off of Riverdale after Riverdale, because Riverdale's ending soon, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, although personally, I didn't really find Riverdale that good, though, by the second season. Like, I found the first season to actually be pretty good, but, like, second season, I didn't really feel that much. So, yeah.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't make it to the second season.
Oh, cause like I don't know, the murder thing still kept me like hooked for like the first season. Then second season they kind of changed it up, and I was like, I didn't get as interested anymore. Ooh.
So, okay, we have some comments about Winx actually. I'm going to read it bottom to top. So, from my good pal L'Oreal, it was her birthday recently. So, belated happy birthday, L'Oreal.
Happy birthday.
What happened to Winx makes me worried for what's going to happen for the live action Avatar The Last Airbender. I agree, actually, because though it's different showrunners, they're planning to do the same thing. Like, they are planning to give it a much darker twist and prepare it for a more adult audience. Yeah. And if you ask me, Avatar The Last Airbender on its own was already very mature. Like, people said, if you wanted to make it again, then make it real life for the novelty of it. But in terms of story, in terms of characters, in terms of presentation, there's not much to change because I think it was made for audiences of all ages.
Yeah, same. And also, like, it's kind of scary when the creators of Avatar The Last Airbender started saying, oh, we're gonna depart from this project because too many creative differences. So now you're thinking, like, if the creators don't want this, like, how are we going to react? Because we're the fans.
Exactly. Like that departure gave me Percy Jackson vibes, in all honesty.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
my
so
god.
anyway, we have more comments. As I said, I'm reading bottom to top. So, hi, Ma'am Jen. Thank you for stopping by. From Enzo again, they sign on for the amount of episodes they can't negotiate mid-season. So,
Oh,
yeah, that's probably a reason. It's just a weird number, like having 6 episodes, because usually Netflix would give like 5 or 10. Six is like somewhere in between.
oh.
And
And
then
Gabrielle says Bridgerton review. I know we've
yes,
been
I was
talking
just
about it.
about to get to that.
Yeah.
Anne and I actually talk about Bridgerton a lot. So, Bridgerton is something I would say is for more mature audiences because of a lot of the content. But I will say it's like a mix between Gossip Girl and Pride and Prejudice. So, if period dramas are your thing, you might actually like this show because it's like I said, it's like Gossip Girl set up in the time of Pride and Prejudice. So each of the characters are very nuanced. I wouldn't say it was a perfect show, but it's based off of a book. So some people say it does stay true to its source material while editing it to be more appropriate for TV viewers. And I think it did a good job because like the whole concept of having like someone like Gossip Girl, someone who just watches everyone's every move, and this time instead of texting it, putting in a publication, like it was just nice to see. Plus something I must note about Bridgerton is they go through a lot of Tumblr fanfic. A lot of Tumblr fanfic tropes, which I thought was so
Like what?
funny. Because like, okay, all of these are plot points, so I can't give them all. But one of the biggest tropes would be enemies to lovers. Like that's a driving point. This one you can kind of see in the trailer, so that's okay. But for the rest, you're just going to have to watch it to find out. And then the characters are fun to watch actually. Despite like sometimes they could get annoying, they could have a lot of hot takes and controversy, but they're very engaging. The actors played their characters really well. Like the ones who are supposed to be annoying, you'd really get annoyed. The ones you feel sorry for, you'll really feel sorry for them. So there's a prince there. I feel sorry for him. You're just going to have to watch to find out why. And just I think last week they announced that they would be having a season 2 focusing on another family because Bridgerton is actually the surname, and season 1 focused mainly on the daughter, and she has like 3 or 4 brothers, and the next season will be focusing on one of the brothers because I think that's how they did it in the book. So yes, if you want a show to binge, this is very bingeable. You can finish it in a day. It's nice to have on while you're doing something or if you want to concentrate. Like it's just that type of show. So also from Anne, Simon Hastings apologist. Okay,
Oh no. Is that from Pride and
am I a
Prejudice?
Simon Hastings No,
Who-
Simon Hastings is the Duke
Oh.
in Bridgerton. So, okay, I'm not going to say what he does, why he does it. Everyone is just going to have to watch the show to find out and understand why. But his character was very well written. He's the perfect example of character development.
Uh, well, we'll just have to see. Well, actually, the thing is, like, I kind of noticed they have a lot of these. Netflix has this thing of doing just one season shows, like Haunting of Bly House was also like that, because the one before that was Haunting of Hill House. So it kind of like I kind of noticed you only have them for like one season each like cast and all that.
Each cast is one season. This one's a bit different because it'll be the same cast. It'll just be like focused on a different character. So the Duke of Hastings and his wife are still going to be there. The other brothers are going to be there. It's just that this one will shift focus to that particular brother. And then the season after, same actors, same everyone.
Oh,
different.
that like
Yeah.
American Horror Stories. I think they're also like that, right? They would
I
have
never
like
watched American Horror Story. You're asking me if I watched something
You're right.
with horror
You know
in
what?
it.
you with horror. Yeah. Why am I asking?
So yeah, it's just changing the spotlight. That's basically what's happening.
Yeah. Netflix has so much now. Like they're saying that they're going to be releasing movies every week. Like
Yes, actually. So this has gotten a lot of mixed reviews. So people are asking is this a good thing? So I just want to ask our audience the same thing. Netflix is planning to release movies every week. Is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? What do you guys think? So you, Austin, what do you think?
For me, I'm not so on board with this because I've noticed a lot of the movies that they be releasing are just um they're just okay. Like one of the new ones that are in the top 10 that I just found is okay was Outside the Wire. It's starring Anthony Mackie who plays Sam Wilson or the Falcon in the MCU. So like he's like it's about robots fighting a war, but also not really because they just have these robots in a few scenes, but mostly it'd be like people fighting people. And like it seems like something you would watch on Netflix just because it's there, but not something you'd watch in the theater because it's really good. And like Netflix has kind of been doing this with I think Project Power was also one of those with Jamie Foxx. And so like I kind of hope that Netflix would release like lesser movies with more substance or like really good movies in my opinion. Midnight Sky is also one of those.
Yeah, so you're saying it's a quality, it should be a quality over quantity type of thing?
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been seeing people arguing like the same thing. Like they were saying releasing a movie every week would mean that they would have to produce these movies very quickly also, even though they do have stock from last year. So people say that this makes movies become, like I said, factory line, mass produced, losing its artistic value for the sake of entertainment. But one thing we actually have to consider also is movies give people jobs. And at a time like now, like we're in the middle of a pandemic and jobs are much harder to come by. And I think the movie industry is one of the industries that were very, very heavily impacted. So having Netflix producing a lot of movies could also be them, like, of course, it does bring the money in, but it's also giving people jobs. So I think that's something we need to consider also. Like the business of movie making, this is a livelihood of some people. So Netflix actually making a lot of movies will help people get jobs.
Yeah, but like, no, for me, I don't see the point in that. Like, you can have better movies and still like it being funded by Netflix just because like, oh, we have to fund the studio, we'd have to get like crappier stories and like make these stories into movies. Like I don't think there's like a correlation.
First of all, language.
Oh, wait.
First of all, language. Second of all,
I don't even know this, but okay, you know.
second of all, yeah, I get what you mean. Like, even though they are producing a lot of content, the content should still be of quality. But what I'm saying is, I do get the need to be releasing and doing a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I see it like, yeah, it is good if you can like put out a lot of movies. But then I'm just saying like those movies should be good and like they shouldn't just be like,
Yes.
oh, just because there's a pandemic and people are losing that. That's why it justifies why the movies aren't that good. But yeah, that's just my opinion of it. But I'm okay. I'm like, I would like it if there were a lot of movies that Netflix could release. It's just not if these movies are going to be like Outside the Wire or Project Power, movies like that. Like Zendaya has a movie that's coming out too.
Yeah, I was gonna say these are trying times, and Malcolm and Marie is actually a very good example of a movie that was filmed during quarantine, and I think it set a lot of the Hollywood standards for movie making because they chose a lot of not only environmentally friendly options and locations, but also places that were very safe for the actors and crew to all be together because they chose this house which was very open so the wind can pass through. They were the ones who began like film safety protocols. They were the one that made the lists and things to follow, which I think a lot of people ended up following after. And while doing that, they were able to make a really good movie because Malcolm and Marie will actually be black and white if I'm not mistaken. And
yeah, it is.
It'll focus on two actors. So people are saying it's going to be a testament to the acting of both of the performers.
Oh, I heard there was some drawback with the age of Zendaya. They said like she was too young and her actor was too old. But then honestly, I find that to be okay. Like I feel like a lot of old movies were like that though. Like Audrey Hepburn's, all of her co-stars were like way older than her and stuff.
I know that Zendaya was actually very heavily involved in the production of this. It was actually all her idea. So a lot of parts of this movie were actually handpicked by her. So, I'm sure like she had a say in everything and that she was okay with that. Plus, I think she's 24 or 25. It's just that we all still see her as Zendaya from Disney and Zendaya from Spider-Man.
That's true, actually. Like, she really can play a child pretty well. Like, she has a young face.
Yes, and actually, right now, she's the age of Keira Knightley in Pride and Prejudice.
Really?
Yes,
Oh.
actually. So when I found out that she was going to be starring alongside John David Washington, I didn't see anything wrong with it because I remembered Keira Knightley and her co-star who played Mr. Darcy.
Mm-hmm. How old was he? Oh, was there like a really big age difference too?
Also, but I think that was also because of that time period in particular.
Yeah, that's true.
So is there any other up-and-coming Netflix things we're waiting for?
Ooh. We got a comment from Anne Gabriel Domingo with true, especially in Funny Face, which I agree with that. Sorry, that's an Audrey Hepburn film. That was a musical. I'm like a big Audrey Hepburn fan, so like I saw a lot of her movies. And like there is that trend that like she always does have like an older like co-star. But okay, yeah. Enough with Audrey Hepburn.
Another thing Anne said is, I'm weird. Why do you think I wear this hat? Gospel of Cole Sprouse. Is that in reference to the crown? Like the crown that Jughead wears, or his beanie?
I never saw it as a crown though. You know, like I know they were trying to go for it, but like it took a while before I was like, oh, that's why they made the beanie like that to resemble the crown.
And from Jeter Sablayan, magandang umaga po, save yung live action. I think that was around the time we were talking about The Last Airbender.
Oh yeah. Hey man. I think it's pretty like early to say magandang umaga though.
Don't you mean late? It is the afternoon, almost
Late.
evening.
Late, there we go, sorry.
It's early for tomorrow.
Yeah, there we go.
It's early for tomorrow. We'll go with that.
Yep.
So anyway, with Netflix actually comes a lot of alternatives to going to cinemas in real life. So Netflix opened up Netflix parties, and I think they collaborated with another company to make Netflix parties a little bigger, because now when you open Netflix party, it says you can actually use Amazon Prime, Hulu, and I think Disney Plus. So their online cinema just got a bit bigger. But of course, since we live in the Philippines, we can only use Netflix party.
Oh, and Amazon Prime. I know that's available.
We have
here.
Amazon Prime here?
That's what I heard, yeah. It's just I haven't gotten myself.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, I
I didn't know
have that problem. Like, you know, like all these if let's say Disney Plus and HBO Max was welcome here, we'd all have to pay for like separate subscriptions. So I feel like
That's
it's
true.
so costly. It's like, imagine if they just gave like a bundle pack, like cable.
Exactly, actually. Like, I think if we had all of those streamers available here, we'd really have to choose, like, okay, which ones do I want? Which shows am I going to watch?
That's true. And I feel like that kind of sucks though. Like, if you want to watch Friends, maybe it's only on Netflix and like you can't get it on like HBO Max, or like certain movies are only on HBO Max and stuff. Yeah.
That's true. Well, Netflix party, it's the most convenient option, especially to watch movies like with friends and family. But sometimes the quality kind of just deteriorates when you're on it. So, of course, it doesn't beat watching movies together in real life, but it helps. It helps right now.
That's true. But like, it's kind of cool, like because of the pandemic, like all these online things became available. Like now we have online cinemas for like KTX, G movies, like, and it's like more prominent now.
Yes, that's right. Like KTX, what I like about it is it works like a cinema. I mean, you kind of get the stress of, okay, I have to be on time for the movie, because the movies in KTX, like you have to buy it the day before, and then it'll open at a certain hour, and then it'll also close at a certain hour. So it gives you the movie rush. But at the same time, G movies, okay, really funny story. I remember when I would use G movies to buy tickets to watch movies in real life, and now I buy tickets on G movies to watch movies on G movies.
Oh, times really have changed.
Really true. truly a different time. But other alternates to online cinema is actually Discord. So people usually use it for chatting and for gaming, but some people have found ways to use it for cinemas also. But mostly for movies that you already have on your laptop. So things you've purchased that are on, you can use it through you can stream it through Discord. I've tried it. It's not as not as laggy as doing it on Zoom, but it does pay a price on your bandwidth. But it is
Actually,
like,
no, I
it
found
is a
Zoom
nice option
not
to be
be
able to
as bad. Well, that's me personally. Like, I didn't
Really?
get a lot of. I feel like messenger calls is like the laggiest.
Messenger calls are really just for talking. If you want to watch, I think you have to be on Zoom or Discord. And
Yeah.
I think Zoom has a passable remote. I've never actually tried it, but I know that on some Zoom accounts you can pass the remote.
Oh shoot, I actually never
Meaning
tried
someone
that.
else can it means someone else can like take control of your cursor. So I haven't tried it yet, but
Mhm.
I know that they do have that feature. It's actually very similar to Rabbit. Rabbit is an app that gained popularity a few years ago because it was doing what Netflix Party could do back when Netflix Party wasn't a thing yet. And you could also pass a remote around. Like, you could be watching on someone's screen, but someone else would be holding the remote, so someone else would be the one pausing, playing, controlling the volume.
Oh, I just thought about like in that movie Undy Life, if they gave me that thing to go back in time, I'd go back in time and buy Zoom stocks. Like in January or Feb, I'd buy Zoom stocks just for like sell them in May when everyone's just getting up on Zoom.
I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't even know what Zoom was until the pandemic started.
Same. I was like, everyone was saying Zoom. I was like, what's Zoom? Why don't we just use Skype?
Yeah, so I think Skype is trying to level up its game with a few more group chat features, but we're all on Zoom now.
That's true. Out with the old.
Well, for cinema alternatives in real life, which I have not tried yet, but I think some malls still have their cinema alternatives up. So one would be McKinley Hills Float-In Cinema. So this is actually in Venice Grand Canal Mall. It opened last November, and you watch the movie on their gondolas. So they project the movie on like a screen hung up in one of their bridges, and then you have like 1 to 2 people per gondola, plus one of the rowers.
Actually, I kind of find that cool. Like, there's like a lot of these like different alternatives. Like MOA, SM Pampanga, they have like drive-in. Those drive-in cinemas.
They have the drive-in cinema, but it recently closed. And by recently, I mean last week. It closed last week.
Oh, like they're never gonna open it anymore.
They said it was an intermission, but it was indefinite. But I agree with you. The drive-in cinema actually seemed like a good way to watch movies. Because I mean, we see drive-in cinema in movies. It seemed like such an interesting concept. Plus, it's very, very minimal contact since you're in the car with probably people you've quarantined with.
Yeah, honestly, like when I saw it in Greece, I was like, yeah, that seems like such a fun thing to do. Or even Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like they were doing that in the end.
Oh yeah, they did. But they were in the toy, right? Like they became small.
Okay, yeah, I don't think we have that ability, but you know, just the novelty of it seems really cool.
Maybe if we did.
Oh, if we did though, there'd be like moths and like butterflies coming. That'd be terrible.
But yeah, I think the drive-in cinemas would also be nice. Like if they streamed blockbusters, because I think when they had just opened, no one was releasing new movies, so they were mostly screening like reruns. And then now for the float-in cinema, the gondola one, they just have one movie, which is this Gerard Butler movie called Greenland. So I think like maybe later in the year when restrictions hopefully loosen and a lot of the newer very much awaited movies like Black Widow come out, it could be a nice way to see it.
Yeah, that would be nice. But like you said, like if the vaccine does come, then we won't have to just deal with these other alternatives, or they'll take these alternatives out. Because I feel like these are kind of costly. Like especially I feel like the gondola thing is a bit costly to like show a movie right there and then.
Yes, and I'd actually be a little bit scared to ride a gondola while watching a movie because like you're in the water. What happens if you lean a little too much and then you tip over and then you're in the water?
Well, I mean, like as long as you can swim, I think we're good.
Yeah, but you're still in the water, so what now?
I mean, you just get out of the water and just dry off. And plus, I doubt they'd like do that to you unless you tip the boat yourself. That I can see that happening if you tip it yourself.
Exactly. What if you accidentally do? But anyway, enough about
I mean, just
enough about
offense.
falling off.
But
I've been watching too many vacation vlogs. Anyway,
well, okay, so wait, do they trip on boats in those vlogs?
no, but anyway, back to film news since we're kind of going off course.
Yeah.
Something that's been taking the internet by storm is that HBO Max is supposedly starting a Harry Potter series by the Warner Brothers. And of course, everyone is very divided about this. So to the people watching right now, what do you think about a Harry Potter series? I actually find it very funny that they're labeling this a live action Harry Potter series as if Harry Potter was never live action to begin with. But
I mean, like, you never know. There's a lot of animated stuff now. Maybe they have to clarify.
that's true. But anyway, what do you guys think? Are you up for another Harry Potter or not? I personally think it's too soon to do a revival because though it started 20 years ago, which is so hard to believe, it ended 10 years ago, which is also hard to believe. But the people who have seen Harry Potter, like up until Deathly Hallows Part 2, would still, the memory of Harry Potter is still Daniel Radcliffe and the rest. I really, really think it's too soon because everyone still knows this Harry Potter.
Your Gryffindor shirt kind of sends mixed signals. Because it makes it seem like you
I love Harry Potter, but if they were to do another series, I would want to know what happened before the characters we know. So I would like to see how Hogwarts was in the time of Lily, James, and Severus. Like, the flashbacks they had in Deathly Hallows. It would be nice to see extended versions of those flashbacks. Like, how did Lily get into Hogwarts? How did her and James fall in love? How was Snape throughout all of this? And of course, you want to see the adventures of the Marauders.
Yeah. I bet if Netflix kind of did that, they'll play it as like a teenage, like something like Winx or like what they're doing or Riverdale.
They'd make it that dark.
I can actually see that with Snape.
I think they could find a balance between the two actually. Like it could still be feel good while not being too while it can still be youthful and vibrant without being too kiddie, and then they could inject a bit of that darkness for Snape, kind of like what they did with the movies. I mean, it grew up with them, so at the
I'd
beginning,
say though, Order of the Phoenix was kind of dark.
yes, it was. I was going to say they could start it off when they're younger, of course it could be a little happier, then as they get older and the issues they tackle and the things they face get more serious, just like how the movies grew up with their actors, this series could grow with their actors as well.
That's true. No, but I kind of feel like it's a bit too early to say that it really will be in the works, because I've been seeing news about Warner Brothers saying, oh, there's no Harry Potter series in the works. I mean, they could just be lying just so not to pressure people. Because I know there were similar leaks about Lord of the Rings, because they just released the script and the synopsis for Lord of the Rings. So I think there a lot of studios are just trying to keep secrets. MCU even goes to so many lengths. They film different scenes, fake scenes, just to throw actors off so they don't spoil anything.
That's true. I think 2 months ago, the director of Thor: Love and Thunder, Taika Waititi, posted a picture of a script which said Tony Stark was coming back, and he was talking to Thor, and everyone was like, wow, what a tease. We all know that that's not gonna happen, and he posted it to throw everyone off. But I think it was really funny of him to do.
Ooh, there were talks about Chris Evans joining the MCU again.
Yes, as Captain America again.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
As you know me, if it'll help the story, I'm fine with it. But if it feels out of place, I'd kind of be like, that's a bit of a disservice to the story and to the character, because right now they are trying to give the spotlight to Sam and to Bucky, and I think they deserve it because their characters have been around for a long time, especially because Cap already passed his shield to Sam.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
if him coming back will help the story progress, will help Sam and Bucky's characters get deeper, then I'm all for it. But if it backfires and instead takes attention away from where the story is now, it wouldn't really reflect well on a very well beloved Steve, because his storyline was already finished. But I'm also thinking a lot of people weren't happy with how Steve wrapped up his storyline. So maybe they want to bring him back for one last thing to fix that, to make everyone happier, and then continue with what they were originally planning. What do you think?
I don't know. I kind of felt like, well, in terms of the storyline, I really felt like, what's this Steve Rogers storyline was like one of the best in the MCU. Like the Captain America movies for me were pretty good. Like his first movie in Phase 1 was pretty good. It was a good war film, and then Winter Soldier was one of the best like solo Marvel movies. Like I'd say those really good Marvel movies that doesn't need a lot of other characters joining in. So like I thought it was really good, and Civil War 3 was Civil War, which was the third movie, was also really good. It's just like, yeah, like bringing back Captain America is like really tricky because like you don't want to do the service to him. But like I think if it's like you remember Loki with how he like transformed into Cap in Thor: The Dark World?
Yes, that was
Like-
really funny.
Yeah, I think if it's scenes like that, yeah, they can bring back Chris Evans just for like those gaps.
Yeah, I agree. Like those cameos that'll just make you sentimental and will make you smile. Also, kind of like how he appeared in the first Spider-Man movie, in Spider-Man Homecoming, as those tutorial gym videos.
Oh yeah, that was a cool little nod. But
That
like
was
I don't
funny.
want him to come back as like the character. Even if it serves the story, because I don't think it would be that good a story. Like, what would there be for his character more? Unless it's like for a big fight scene, and then you bring back Captain America. I'd see that happening.
Here's the thing. Marvel writers are very creative. So they can bring up things that the audiences will question and pull it off really well. So I think we really just have to see what's going to happen.
That's very true. That's true.
So anyway, we have Enzo saying Adam Driver for young Snape.
I'm not gonna lie, I can see that.
But if they were Hogwarts age, they'd have to start much younger.
I mean, like if they take it from the teen years, so like that'll be maybe like they're taking their owls. Like that's maybe the first year we introduce them. So they're kind of grown up already. But like
Yeah,
I can
okay,
see
that
it.
makes
Alan Rickman's nose and Adam Driver's nose is like kind of the same.
I've never observed that, but I'll take your word for it.
No, that's just like from what he was saying. Like I was just like Adam Driver. I can see it. More for the nose, but that's just me.
So for Marvel, actually, moving on, I haven't seen WandaVision yet, but I hear that it's getting really good reviews and that they are bringing back some of the characters for future MCU movies, just like Captain Marvel 2.
Yeah, that's true. Teyona Paris, who's playing Monica Rambeau, I heard she's gonna come for Captain Marvel filming. Cause
It makes sense.
I'm sorry, you were saying.
You actually got cut, but it makes sense because the young Monica Rambeau was in the first Captain Marvel movie, so it'll show a passage of time and it brings back the character. I would just want to know what happens to her mom. Like, how will they explain that?
That's true. I feel like she's just gonna kind of get old, especially like the Captain Marvel movie took place in the 90s, and then we
Yeah.
had all that happened plus the 5 years. So like
That's true.
she's probably really old at this point. And I think Captain Marvel doesn't age like how a human ages. So like that's why she also like doesn't have like she doesn't get old that much.
Yeah, that's why she looks the same. They actually explained that. Like, Carol Danvers is actually much older than we think she is. It's just that Captain Marvel herself will look like that for a long time because of what happened.
Yeah. And like Monica Rambeau in the comics, like she's supposedly the next Captain Marvel. So
Oh,
maybe
okay.
maybe they're gonna be passing the mantle. Cause I've been hearing like there's rumors that they say Brie Larson hasn't been like the best fit for the MCU. Like I don't know if they're gonna pass it on already at the second movie. It seems kind of weird to me. But like with all those rumors, I can see it like still being an option or it being a possibility.
I hear different things actually. Like I hear that Brie Larson is okay. It's just that certain fans are very hard on her because they weren't happy with the casting to begin with. But I think she played Captain Marvel well, and her dynamic with the rest of the team was actually pretty okay. I mean, we saw that in Endgame. But I also think that it's too soon to bring Captain Marvel out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, especially because when her movie came out and when Endgame came out, Kevin Feige himself said that okay, Captain Marvel is going to be carrying the next phase of the MCU. And I don't think they've announced any changes to that. So I think if ever, what they're going to be doing is they're going to be using Captain Marvel to introduce even more characters. Like we know now that she's going to be introducing Miss Marvel.
Oh yeah, Kamala Khan. But I feel like that's the thing. Like, if Monica Rambeau is not gonna be Miss Marvel, because Kamala Khan's gonna be Miss Marvel, then like, what would be her role in the movie? I feel like unless she would be taking on the mantle, or like going at her mom, going at another what's his identity, which is Spectrum, because she hasn't just been Captain Marvel in the comics for a very long time.
Well, as we said, we really won't know until it comes out. But personally, I'm excited to see the character of Miss Marvel because she's very beloved and she's very different from the heroes that we know right now. Plus, I think having Miss Marvel present in the MCU will be a good way to set up the young Avengers. So I'm all for that.
Are they gonna be setting that up?
I'm pretty sure they will because they brought in Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop. They recently cast an Ironheart. So I think it could be a long-term goal.
Yeah, I can see that. I felt kind of bad for the girl who got recasted to play Cassie Lang.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, especially because like Endgame was a really good movie. So it kind of feels bad na par. It feels bad like she just get changed like right after and she didn't even get that much lines.
Yes, and according to her announcement about it, actually, she found out when the rest of the world did.
Oh, sure, that really sucks.
So she was a surprise to her, and I'm surprised that they wanted to recast because I think the actress was very fitting. Like it was very believable that she was Paul Rudd's daughter, and she really looked like an older version of the little girl who played Cassie Lang originally.
Yeah, but I think maybe why they chose someone like the actress that they chose was because Cassie Lang's blonde. Maybe they wanted to stick to a more like accurate story look to how she really looks in the comics.
Well, like I said, I guess we'll just have to wait for the movie to see why these changes had to happen. Or of course, we don't know what went down behind the scenes.
Hey, oh, we got a comment. Tristan says, "Ooh, I just want Loki." Okay.
I really want Loki too. I'm very excited to see what they do with his series because I know that it'll follow the Loki that disappeared in Endgame, the one that took the Tesseract. And when I saw the trailer, it looked really, really, really good. Like that was a definition of a nice trailer. So I'm so excited to see what they do with that.
Oh, I'm thinking like maybe Chris Hemsworth would be there, but I'm not sure. I really hope so though.
Chris Hemsworth, I'm sure. I mean, Loki is Thor's brother, so I'm sure that he'll at least make a cameo or pop up from time to time.
I hope so. Well, you don't know, because like he's also in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's with Guardians of the Galaxy right now. So if he was gonna go, then wouldn't they have to have like an explanation for like why the Guardians aren't there with him?
Well, I'm sure that they would because we need to take into account that we don't know what storyline Loki will take place in because he just took the Tesseract with him and left. So we don't, and remember, he did that during the time frame of the first Avengers movie. So we don't know what year it is for him. And it could be a completely different universe as well because the Loki of that timeline was killed in Infinity War.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually like that version of like time travel that Marvel set up. Like it's not going back in time and changing time because like that can get kind of messy with like the chronology of stuff. So it's kind of cool that they're doing the whole you get different universes and dimensions to go to. So I like that part about Marvel.
I wouldn't mind them bringing back the Grandmaster, actually. I really liked his character in
Yes,
Ragnarok. And then knowing that him and Loki were, like, you know, they developed a friendship. Partner, friendship, partnership,
Oh no,
co-workership.
because what's this?
They were funny.
At the end, the Grandmaster realized like what Loki did, so I don't think they're on good terms anymore.
Or they meet again, because remember, this is before that happened. So we can see them take on a completely different dynamic or go in a completely different direction. I really just liked what those two had going on. It was funny. And of course, Jeff Goldblum.
That's true.
Need
No,
I say more?
I can see Jeff Goldblum coming back. Maybe like cause the Collector died. In the comics, the Collector and the Grandmaster are like cousins or brothers. Like they belong to the same race. So I can see that like, oh, the Grandmaster found out that Thanos killed the Collector, so he might revive him. But at the same time, it seems like a very off plot to just put in.
Well, we'll just have to wait for the series.
That's
So
true.
we've got a lot of Loki fans. So we have Nessie, my friend from high school. She said Loki heart. And yes, Nessie is like one of the biggest Loki fans I have ever met in my life. No questions. And then Tristan again, character development just reset for that version of Loki. Yeah, that's very true because we have a Loki that didn't learn the lessons that he did in the two later Thor movies. So yeah, we could see him go in a completely different direction, or we can see a more detailed version of what he went through.
I think that was really cool though, because we kind of got a really cool Loki line, like a Loki story, and then after that he goes back in time, and then after that we get to experience like a new storyline with Loki, and like it doesn't seem cheated. Well, for me, I don't feel like it seems cheated.
That's right. And also we need to take into account that Loki is a shapeshifter. And because of that, he's a very complex character who could be presented in very different ways and go through very different things. So I think it is interesting that they did reset his character so that they can show a completely different side and a completely different version. And yeah, it is justified because that's who he is. I mean, they explained the logo. Because if you look at the Loki logo, it's each letter is in a different font. And when you animate it, these fonts change. And they were like, they did this to reflect who Loki is as a person and as a character. So
Like he's ever changing or something.
yes,
Or-
like he's ever changing. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Enzo commented, considering the current comics line is how young superheroes are outlawed, that would be funny. Yeah, but like honestly, I can see like the thing about MCU though now I notice is it pays tribute to the comics, but it doesn't really take or like it really doesn't really adapt the same thing as the comics. Like in the comics, the Tesseract and the Space Stone are like two different things. Like it's a cosmic cube and like that changes reality, and then the Space Stone is the Space Stone. And the MCU they kind of like put them together. So like I feel like they can kind of do anything as long as they pay tribute properly. That doesn't anger comic fans.
Exactly. Because, like, I think especially with a comic, in a comic, you have, like, the time and space to be able to go into certain things and to expand certain things. But with a movie or a TV show, you could only do so much. So I kind of understand the changes that they need to make sometimes. It's just that they really have to make sure that these changes are going to help tell the story that people love.
But I actually like that better because for comic fans, at least when you're watching a movie, you don't feel like, okay, this is exactly like how the book would be, or like how the graphic novel would be. It's like the same thing, panel per panel. So like it's kind of good that they give you stuff that you like about the comics, but like they make the story still new.
Yeah, that's right. They add their own touch of artistry to it.
That's true. But like,
So-
yeah. Wait, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say Godzilla versus Kong is coming up, and to the audience members who are still watching, who are you for, Godzilla or Kong? Or are they BFFs? What do you think?
Man, I can imagine that'd be really fun. Like I remember in what's this Planet of the Apes? There's like the third Planet of the Apes movie. You just have the apes like shopping and doing like human stuff, and like I can see like all sci-fi monster movies should have something like that.
They should have an alternate version where the monsters are friends, and I can totally see that for Kong and Godzilla. I don't want to see them fight. I want to see them go milkshakes together.
Yo, Godzilla versus Kong, Godzilla and Kong being roommates, like Joey and Chandler. That would be funny.
That would be so funny, but also how would they be able to do it?
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's just like that would be kind of like just crazy and funny. But you know, Godzilla and Kong, it's kind of annoying that they had their date moved up from May 21 to March 26, and then Warner Brothers is postponing it again. It's gonna be instead of March 26, it's gonna be March 31. So, Godzilla versus Kong fans, you guys are gonna have to wait.
Right. So anyway, what else has been on Netflix? What else have you been seeing?
One series that actually came out that was pretty good was Lupin. It's a French TV show about a guy who's like a master thief, but it kind of shows that he's not a thief. Like, he's not really a bad thief, because there was something that happened back in his childhood that is why he's doing the things he's doing now, and it's pretty interesting. Like I noticed, like, Netflix, because it's so international, we're really getting movies and TV shows from everywhere. You have like K-dramas, then you have French TV shows, then you have like shows like The Crown. So it's really coming from like all different like places.
So you mentioned K-dramas. Have you watched any?
Sadly, I have not, although I've been hearing a lot of good stuff about K-dramas.
I've been hearing things about, actually, like, people are saying it deserved its spot in the Netflix top 10 a few weeks ago, but other people are saying you should watch different K-dramas before watching that. Like, that's a K-drama that's for people who have been watching K-drama for years, but if you want to get into it, you have to start with something else.
Oh, guys, okay, if you think we should get into K-dramas, like, what would you like request in the comments?
Yes, like, what are good K-dramas to start with? Because I think what I've been told to start with is Crash Landing on You, which was released last year, and then some of the older ones, like Descendants of the Sun.
That one, or Boys Over Flowers. I've also been
Yes,
hearing
or
good ones.
Boys Over Flowers. Like, they say, start with that one, and then watch Startup to be able to appreciate it more.
Yeah, actually, like, there was one that got kind of famous, but it's not K-drama, but it's Chinese. It's Meteor Garden, and I feel like
I
it
heard
has
about
that. Yeah, it has that same vibe as like as those K-dramas, but it's actually a pretty good show. I think it was on Netflix a while back, or maybe it's still on, but I'm not sure.
Well, it's almost 6 o'clock, and the next time we will be back in these seats to talk to everyone, it'll be February 10, and we're going to be talking about rom-coms and Valentine's Day. So actually, to get us prepared for that, I have a few movie suggestions that y'all can take with you, and I have two, actually. One is Hello, Love, Goodbye, starring Alden Richards and Catherine Bernardo. It takes place in Hong Kong, and it's on Netflix, and you actually see a lot of the place. It's about two people who are about to start being in a long-distance relationship. We don't see the long-distance relationship, but we see how they're going to get into it, and that's actually why a lot of people enjoyed watching it. Like, listening to the conversation, seeing how the dynamics would change, seeing how they were preparing for it. It's very critically acclaimed. And then one more would be Alone Together. Now, this made a lot of waves because, like, it was filmed partially in UP while we were still in Katipunan. I think it was during my freshman year. So it made a lot of people nostalgic because they're places that Ateneo students and UP students visit frequently. And Eliza and Enrique both played UP students. So it's very nice to watch. And for me personally, I really like the story. So it's about these two lovers who reconnected when they were older. So it's a bit then and now, but it's a really nice story to follow. So to get yourselves ready for Feb 10, something to watch.
I personally do not have a list off the top of my head, but a Valentine's Day that I always go to or always like watching is Before Sunrise. So if you guys haven't seen that, you guys should watch that for Valentine's Day. Really good.
What about
movie.
a feel-good one? Since a lot of what we said was kind of sad.
Ooh, if it's a feel-good one, a feel-good movie, Dazed and Confused, or Everybody Wants Some, I'd say that's the same. Because like they all come from the same director, and I really love that director. He's also the guy that directed School of Rock and Boyhood. So Richard Linklater, such a good director.
Of course. So anyway, as we said, for those who haven't enlisted yet, good luck. We have the rest of the week. For those who need to load rev like me, good luck also. May the odds be ever in your favor. I don't know, maybe because their schedules are still tomorrow and Friday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm already done. I'm already
So
done.
yes, good luck to everyone. We're halfway through the week, so please enjoy the rest of your week. Once again, this has been Clapback. I'm Max, and when it comes to films, I serve the facts. I hope you took this hour to sit back and relax.
And I'm Austin. Some people say I'm chill. Just here to keep it real and serve you your daily movie fill.
And once again, this has been Clapback. To catch all of our last episodes, you can check the Radyo Katipunan Facebook page. Thank you for staying with us this afternoon, and we wish you a good week ahead. Bye!
Bye.
Ha! Good take! Want to hear our take on all your favorite filmy things? Tune in to Clapback, the radio show for film critics, production news, pop culture, and social commentary, serving as a place for our voice in our cinematic universe. Hosted by the Loyola Film Circle, Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Only here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Action!